Ryan Clark was trying to state. Yeah, let's say a few months ago, Ryan Clark was opening up on his Pivot podcast, and he was talking about his kids. And as he described his kids, and this is the first time I ever knew this, heard of this, he described them by their color and complexion, but he also talked about one kid, his oldest kid, that was biracial. And I never knew that Ryan Clark had a white baby mother. Now, knowing that, it makes a ton of sense in terms of his social commentary, especially on racial issues. For whatever reason, if I want to be stereotypical, if I want to actually generalize right now in this moment, a lot of people who have issue with their identity racially, whether it's they've been questioned before, they journey to the other side, whatever it may be, they have an insecurity. What happens is a lot of times they want to go out there and overcompensate for their blackness. They want to double down on their black card because they went through that racial identity crisis. And that just sums up Ryan Clark to me in a nutshell in terms of this issue and a lot of the times when we see him racially pandering. He just has this conversation always slanted towards race, even when it's not necessary. So coming at RG3 and really using his wife as a conduit to get to RG3 and undermining his blackness, I thought was out of bounds. So, you know me, I'm gonna call it out. And at the same time, hopefully Ryan Clark will understand that he could attack these issues for the issue and not for trying to attack somebody's character because of their marital choice.
It's very few people are like me, unmarried and have no kids. And so that gives me a freedom to be, I think, more transparent because I ain't got no kids and I'm sitting out there, well, how are they going to be treated at school when daddy says this kind of stuff in public? But I want to be transparent and honest about what you just said. If it wasn't for my racial insecurity that relates to idolize my father, and my father hated the fact that I dated white women. And so for a long time, I would be like, well, I'll get married when my father dies. Literally, those thoughts ran through my mind. And then when he passed, and it's not that he was near death or anything, but I used to just think that way. But when he passed, I still wouldn't pull the trigger on it because I was like, I don't want people questioning me and what I'm saying based on who my wife is. And so there's a couple of women I should have married, but I denied myself that because of my racial insecurities and how I thought people would judge me. And what I've come to find out is like, it don't even matter if I'm not married to a white woman. Black people are going, well, you're too conservative, you're too Christian, you're too something. If they don't want to hear it, they're going to come up with some justification, and it doesn't matter who your wife is. And so I just say all that to say that there is a mental Olympics along race that Black people have to go through, and sometimes it compromises our ability to do what we want or say what we want.
Oh, absolutely, man. I've seen it since birth. It seems like since conscious thought, I see people who overstate their blackness, and they do it in the guise of, I'm acting black, like the black culture. I'm down with the culture. And when you start to see people who try to act a certain way, you already know they acting. And that comes with the insecurity, the act. One reason that I always just stand 10 toes down and say what I feel, and I know at times I get called out of pocket and out of name, and I don't care, is because I really know who I am. Like, there's no conversation about me racially. So I can really attack these issues and take all the excuses off the board and then say, now we got to talk about the real issue at hand. When you see Ryan Clark and you hear his commentary, you start to realize there's something deeply rooted that's insecure about his commentary. A lot of these situations don't even need a racial conversation attached to it. What we're seeing with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese is just good old-fashioned rivalry. And even though they're not on the same level in terms of their basketball talents, they are pretty close in terms of the attention that they garner. So I look at it like, when you're Ryan Clark, why are you trying to make all these issues racial? And then that was really the last piece of the puzzle that solved it for me. I just don't like a world where we have skewed the truth. We don't say the truth anymore. We say my truth. And then we go even further, and all we care about is likability. So if Jason Whitlock says something, I don't give a damn if it's the truth. I don't like Jason Whitlock, so therefore I don't believe the truth. It happens with me, and it's just everyone out there. And I saw it in sports commentary. When you like the player, all of a sudden you prop them up. Let me give you a loose example. There are too many times when someone falls short of winning the championship. Eastern Conference Finals, Western Conference Finals, AFC Championship, NFC Championship. They fall short. But we like that player. We say, oh, he had a damn good season. But then we see a player who wins it all, let's say when LeBron is the villain, and then we say, I don't really like LeBron right now, so that's a bubble ring. So literally because of achievement, we can discard somebody because we don't like them. And that's where our world is really turned, and I think social media gave us the connectivity to make that happen, to change the truth into just what I like. And that echo chamber just continues to go.
Let me show Ryan Clark some grace and ask this question sincerely, but I think it falls on Ryan Clark to acknowledge this. Angel Reese made her name at LSU. Ryan Clark played football at LSU. He likely has some sort of passion for her because she's an LSU grad, and he probably has some connection to her because she's an LSU grad. And so maybe this is all personal. It's like I assume that he talks to Angel Reese, communicates with her in some capacity. He's a high-profile ESPN personality. He's an LSU grad. He has some sort of connection. Maybe he's just over the top here because of his personal connection to Angel Reese. It's no different. Me and Jeff George grew up together, and so I was very defensive about his NFL career. But I always made sure people to know, like, hey, man, I grew up with this dude. I love him, love his family, and so take my opinion with a grain of salt. Ryan Clark's not doing that.
No, he's not doing that. And I have no problem with Ryan Clark. I just have a problem with panderers. And that's a deep story for me, and I can get into it if you'd like to, but I just don't like anyone who panders. I don't like anybody who panders because that person, that group doesn't need to be protected. Right? The strong thrive and the rest survive. So where I'm from, a lot of people had these labels on. Are you from Compton? Are you from the hood, et cetera? You are A, B, or C. And I was like, dog, the only box I'm in is no box. I'm who I am. I don't need to be represented, and I only represent me. And people used to always come at me crazy, like, what are you talking about? Like, we all of us. And I'm like, dog, I'm in class with you. We don't study the same. I'm on the team with you. We don't play the same. So when you want to do all this we stuff, I hear you, but that's really pulling you up because I know I'm going to do my part. So I'm big on accountability. I'm big on self-responsibility. That doesn't mean I don't know my blackness. Doesn't know I don't know if I'm black. Yes, but I'm going to represent individually so that the group can say, that's one example of us. So everything I do is black. And that's how it goes. And I look at the Ryan Clark, as you made the association with Angel Reese, and I say, you can just come out and say, that's the homie, that's my girl from LSU, that's a Tiger, I gotta look out for her. I ain't got a problem with that, I get it, look out. But the problem I have is when you attach it to the historical plight of the black woman, how when someone says anything about her, you take her and put her in bubble wrap and say, do you know what black women have been through? Yeah, and if you want to take that, Ryan Clark, and say what black women have been through, that ain't what Angel Reese has been through. Angel Reese was a millionaire in college. I wasn't. Raise your hand if you were. Nope, put your hand down. Ryan Clark and I combined income. Angel Reese made that in college and is making way more than that right now. Angel Reese is in a whole different world and realm in terms of the historical plight of the black woman. But that doesn't mean she can't be angry. That doesn't mean she can't be jealous, envious, and resentful of Caitlin Clark for many reasons. So you can see through her play, she wants all the smoke with Caitlin Clark. But you can also see through Caitlin Clark's play, she doesn't want any of that smoke. She just wants to go out there and get her ball on. That's not racial. We've seen it too many times in sports where there's been rivalries, hatred between players. And it's not because that player is looking at someone racially. Michael Jordan used to be selfish. Then he became the face of the NBA. There was a time when you looked at Kobe Bryant. He was the McDonald's man and Dayton Brandy and Mr. Coca-Cola. Then Colorado happens. And then all of a sudden he goes dark and he's a black mamba. Then you look up again, he's a hero again because he's a girl dad. They all go through this if they're going to reach the pinnacle. Floyd Mayweather was pretty boy. Floyd Mayweather was the guy that we all felt bad for who lost in the Olympics. Then he also became Money May, who you loved or you loved to hate. So to protect Angel Reese from the plight of black women is disingenuous. Secondly, it's not doing her any favors, because if she wants to get to the top, she wants to get to the throne where right now Asia Wilson sits or Caitlin Clark sits, she gonna have to go through the fire. And if I'm Ryan Clark, I'll let her go through that fire so she can get as high as she can go.
Don't miss a second of Fearless. Hit that like button and subscribe to keep up with our latest content.